Reflections.
We are being hypnotized by people like this. Newsreaders, politicians, teachers, lecturers. We are in a country and in a world that is being run by unbelievably sick people. The chasm between what we're told is going on and what is really going on is absolutely enormous.
Oh yeah, dude. There's some Netflix.
It's like we all know what's going down, but no one's saying shit what happened to the home of the brave. These motherfuckers, they controlling us now, and no one's talking about how they made us modern-day slaves. And everybody's just walking around, heading the clouds and won't awaken to a dead in the grave. By then it's too late, we need to be ready to raise up. Welcome to the end of days.
Everybody is slaves, only some are aware that the government releasing poison in the air.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of NDS Chronicles,
Didn't
the
like
show
that.
where we read your submitted paranormal testimony. I am David Lee Corbo, a.k.a. The Raven. That is Top Lobsta, the father of disinformation. And this is the part where we tell you that you're too poor to listen to this for more than a half an hour. If you sign up at patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad for a nominal fee of free, actually,
Of
you
nothing.
sign up for the 7-day free trial.
Yeah.
You can continue enjoying an ad-free experience, hanging out in the live chat, and watching episodes before they are released to the general public. All that and so much more. When I say that, I don't even think that's true. I think it's all that. Specifically what I just mentioned. I don't think there's a more. But go on over to patreon.com/Nephilim
There
Death
should
Squad.
be
Sign up
more.
for whatever tier you'd like and watch this full episode. If not, you guys are losers and you won't be watching in half an
Give
hour.
us some ideas on what else you want from us. What do you
What do you
want from us?
from us? Honestly, yesterday we went live on the Patreon to talk about whatever. We did an ad read. We did all kinds of stuff, and we just let the Patreon members watch. But I don't think that they liked it. I don't think it was good. I think what we did there. I think what we did there was disrespectful, and but that's a perk. We might just
we're,
go live randomly and make you watch us do ad reads.
This is actually a banger. The top line cleanse. Actually,
No,
You know
don't
what?
do that.
I have a little bit of time because David has been obsessed with going to the gym, but
Yeah.
I've had some time, so maybe we will do a top line cleanse and just cut.
Really?
Cut the middleman out. I know you guys were there for the name and the content, but the guy who was doing the show, very
No, I'm not.
boring.
No, not
the
boring.
best.
And it's also still a show. It's still a thing. It's going to be relaunched
No,
in
it's dead, baby.
in July. So
Actually,
you can do whatever you want, but it's not, if we had just a timeline cleanse and a top line cleanse, that would be very funny and confusing for the audience. And I like that. I think that's
Somebody
a great
just
idea.
bought a timeline cleanse shirt. They bought this morning. They bought the top lobster, the endless shrimp, top lobster
banger.
shirt, and then alongside that, a timeline cleanse shirt, which is very cool.
That's interesting. I wonder. I probably know who that person is then, because it's really only usernames
dox
and viewers who I know personally who are
Hold
buying.
on, I'm
a
looking up
Timeline
the
Cleanse
orders
merchandise.
right now. I'll tell you exactly where they live.
Tell me their name. Dox them. Speaking of doxing, we got to get into some of these stories, and that's kind of our
Actually,
thing is we're going to dox
I
you
will.
every time.
You know what? I will say who bought it. Can you just take a guess? Take a guess
Scott.
who bought it? No, not Scott.
Nancy.
Nancy bought it, and
Nancy, unbelievable. Nancy, our the new producer
I'm gonna
for.
refund you, Nancy. I'm giving you your money back.
No, don't give her
because-
her money back.
No, I'm
To
giving
actually,
her
she
money
should be
back.
paying double, as far as I'm concerned. Oh, by the way, shout out to Scott for this. This beautiful Raven custom made disc golf. I think this is it's not a frisbee. It's for disc golf. I think there's a line there. There's a difference between a whatever you would call it, a frisbee and a disc golf. Yeah, Top, your volume's very low. Turn up your
My
volume.
volume is low.
Your volume is low, stupid.
Okay, fine. I'll put it up. Yeah, okay,
but yeah, now I got
I refunded
refunded?
Nancy. So there we go. That's very good. Because, like I said, Timeline Cleanse is defunct. This
not
show doesn't
defunct.
even exist. You just bought a T-shirt for a show that does not exist. I feel
That's
bad.
not true. It's 100% coming back. I just need to I need to make them want me.
That's not
That's
even
what
what
I
I
need
wanted
to
to
do.
talk about here. What I wanted to talk about, why did I? Because I don't want you to have my shirts, Nancy. That's why. You're not allowed to wear my. No.
Did you know that if you look here on the thing, this is what when I went to go look at my mail, it said that.
What did it say there?
Massa Raven. That was the name that it was addressed to.
Incredible.
So now there's like a legal precedent for when the law comes down on us, you know, like a Waco Ranch style situation. They're going to know, our records show that they've been calling you Massa for some time now. So not a cult, or definitely a cult.
You can just definitely point them to the fact that it's like, well, I no longer have this show. It doesn't
That's
exist.
not true. It's going to come back. We're going to do it again. It's going to be better than it was before. I just
You're not
need
helping
people.
your legal case here, David.
No. That's a show, not a cult. Look, let's get into today's thing. Submission.
I wanted to talk about how generous of like lovers we are, because we asked the people yesterday, like, did you like that?
Yeah.
Do you want more? Did you like when I did that thing?
Shit? Yeah.
And they just didn't really give us any feedback. So,
oh yeah, did you guys like that when we went live? Because this is really a conversation for the
thing that we
Patreon
did?
members.
that little thing we did.
Yeah, that little thing that we did when we did that. Did you like that? Because I guess we could do more of that. I don't know what that was really.
Was it as good for you as it was for me? Is what
it was good for us. It was good for us. I thought it was great. If you guys like that, 1, 2, 3 in the chat. If you liked that thing that we did yesterday. Oh my God! All right. Let's get into this.
What are we doing here today?
We're gonna read a story. You keep asking dumb. All right. I'm gonna start it reading. This is from what the is this? Parallel Scale.
You doxed them. How dare you?
No, that's not a real name. Okay.
You sure?
The was that? Anyway, hey guys, love you. Don't laugh, dude. I gotta start.
I'm sorry. It's very funny to the listener. To the people just listening, it's like it's very. Well, continue. Go ahead.
Okay. Look, 1, 2, 3. They liked it. They liked it. Oh my God, Anti-Species. It says, I think we should see other people. She didn't like it. She didn't like what we did yesterday. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay. Shout out to
it. It was a little weird. I get
it was
I
a
get
little
what
weird.
You're saying.
Yeah,
I
it was fucking
you'll get used
unprepared, impromptu.
Yeah. The thing is, the more that we do it to you, the more that you'll accept it.
That's right. Yeah, we're conditioning you right now. Soon you'll be asking for it. And let's be honest, you practically are. All right. Hey, guys. Love both of you, Dangerous. And especially David. That's right. Because that's my name. Oh. Because his name is... Okay, all right, I see. And I like him... I relate to his human resources nature, but especially relate to the appreciation of satirical hate that the father of disinformation brings. Interesting.
It's not satirical.
It's a very potent form of genuine hate.
Dot. We can only hope is satirical. Either way, he's a friend.
Right. So yeah, that's what people have come to terms with about you is like they realize that it's not satirical, that you actually do hate them. And then now that they've come to understand that, they can like acceptance is the stage that they're in now. And they're like, all right, as long as I know what this guy's about, hating me is
like
fine.
The stages of grief.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He says, my name is David, and this is the story of a dream I had close to 13 to 14 years ago. Heard you guys wanted more entries, so enjoy. It is, I guess, titled, The Moon is Cleansing
I like
itself.
that they're entering our content hole, you know?
Yes. No. They're not entering our content hole. We're entering their holes, and we're filling it with content, which is straight. So he goes on to say,
Anyway, the moon.
The moon is cleansing itself.
Okay.
This is a great way to start the story about your dream. So without further ado, this dream started off with me in a vast, flat, and slightly hilly grassland, but mainly flat. It was nighttime, perfectly beautiful and clear as far as seeing any and all stars and other colors in the night sky, as far as that's concerned. I was laying on a random trampoline in the middle of nowhere with my girlfriend at the time. Dope. I'm no longer with her and am married to someone else. In your face.
Yeah. What a whore.
Fresh one. Oh, sorry. At the time, fresh 1.5 to 2 feet tall grass everywhere. Quite a bit dying with yellow and brown and still standing, but it was also riddled with green grass as well. So typical grassland. This guy just described grassland to us. Thank you.
Thanks for describing grass.
I live in Nebraska. All right. So this landscape is pretty familiar in most places. My girlfriend and I were laying on the trampoline, deeply taking in the night sky together, and it was a full moon. This feels like a bunch of euphemisms. Everything was vibrant and breathtaking. And as we laid there in serene silence, she finally said to me, "Do you see that?" and pointed at the moon. I said, "Yes, it's a full moon." She looked and said, "No, it's not just the full moon. Take another look and really look at it." Excuse me. So I looked back as she suggested and still only saw the moon and replied to her the same, "Yes, I only see the moon and it's beautiful." She replied back, "No, that's not what I mean. You have to really truly look." Women are just so, they just want, everything is a guessing game. You know what I mean? It's just like, they can't ever just say the thing. It's got to be like, you know, "What do you want to eat for dinner?" And she's like, "I don't know. What do you want to eat for dinner?"
This is a problem that we're having with Nancy. She's editing all of these emails.
Yes.
And I was like, "So Nancy, which ones are the good ones?" She's like, "Well, which ones do you think are the good ones?" And I was like, "And Nancy, that's the point of what we hired you for no money for."
Okay. Yeah. What are we paying you no money for? What are we paying you no money for, Nancy? I would love to know. All right. Where did it go? Where are we? Okay. She replied back to me, "No, that's not what I mean. You really have to truly look." Great. I took a deep breath and replied, "Okay." This dude is just exacerbated already with his girlfriend.
This is why I broke up with this bitch.
Okay. I turned back to the night sky, fixated on the moon, but deeply in a meditative way. After some time, I finally saw it. It wasn't just the moon, but it was this wild and magical dance in the sky all around the moon of gigantic, massive amounts of water crashing into the moon and receding in waves. Wave after wave after wave. And it was from all angles, but mainly the cardinal directions, from my point of view as I laid there on my back. That's interesting. So the moon's getting peppered from every which way, predominantly the north, south, east, and west, with waves that are crashing and receding. Interesting.
It's almost like the opposite, like because the moon does that. Like it's manipulating the waves, or so they say. I don't know.
Yeah. Or it kind of reminds me of waters above, waters below. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, so as I looked back at her, I could tell she knew I finally saw what she meant, and I don't know how it all of a sudden became revealed to me, but it was like a veil had been lifted from awareness, and we laid there watching this magnificent, I don't know what to call it, but it unfolded before us, and we were there for what felt like forever. Finally, we both looked at each other, and we both agreed we should head back home now, wherever that was, but we somehow knew. So we got off the trampoline and started walking together in peaceful silence towards the direction of what we knew was home innately somehow.
I like how he adds peaceful silence. So you're telling me that this girl was annoying.
Oh yeah, like she rarely does this, like, you know, not talking, and then she's doing it now, and it's peaceful and it's silent and it's serene and it's beautiful is what he's saying.
Yes.
Okay,
we need more of that. Yeah, I get it.
All of a sudden, a random house came into view in the middle of nowhere right before we were about to.
Sudden or
all of a sudden? All of a sudden. All of a sudden.
Chat. All of a sudden or all of the sudden? Because he says the sudden, and I never correct him. I just listen to it and I go, I don't think so.
I read it and I said the sudden.
Yeah, but it says a sudden. So this
guy says could be retarded. Yeah. I don't think we should go any further until we get clarification. Chat, Nancy, what are you doing? Are you producing? Are you going to give? Okay, there she goes. She says all of. I'm very sorry. I was escalating. I was getting ready to deliver Nancy an attitude.
Tyler says
but
both.
She was
I
typing.
Don't think so, Tyler.
All
That's
of the
you're
sudden.
Not a producer.
All of the. Look, King Scott also says all of the. All right. Oh yeah. All of the lights in here, baby.
That's different. All of the lights, not the sudden.
I don't think it's different.
The correct. Oh, I just asked Grok. Hold on, let's pull this up real quick.
Yeah, please.
There we go.
It's important.
Stupid. The correct phrase is all of a sudden.
Grok also lies quite a bit.
Quickly or unexpectedly, all of the sudden is a common mistake and not standard English.
You, Grok.
Actually, I agree, Grok.
Correct me.
I didn't ask it any bias. I just said all of a sudden or all of the sudden.
I don't trust it. So it says, all of the sudden, a random house came into view in the middle of nowhere right before we were about to reach our apartment. I only knew we lived in an apartment because it was off in the distance, very clear, and about half a mile further back from this house, I would say. these two structures were the only things in existence and view in the dream other than the vast darkly moon or full moon lit grasslands. I have that all up, but he said onus, but I think he meant only things, not onus things, unless that's a word I'm not aware of. Do you want to pick it up from here?
The onus is on us, but yeah, the only things I think he meant to say is so vastly dark, full moon lit grasslands. Actually, let's take a quick break before we continue here.
Yeah, reading's hard, huh?
Reading's hard. I listened to the confessionals today, and apparently Tony Merkel's wife has some form of cancer. So if you guys are praying people, although this show has just been riddled with just awful rhetoric so far.
But yeah, I mean,
seriously,
as an aside, if you have it in you to pray for a stranger, consider praying for Tony Merkel's wife, who has just been diagnosed. I believe it was grade 3, which I've never heard of. Grade 3 breast cancer. There's another terminology that's associated with it. I'm unfamiliar with it, but yeah. I mean, not easy, man. Not great. So if you guys find it in your hearts to pray for anybody, even though they're a stranger, then consider Mrs. Merkel.
Yeah,
big bummer.
He brings us a lot of entertainment, great content, helps a lot of people. This sucks, so keep her in your prayers.
No, Bobby Ballbag said stage 3. It's actually grade 3, which is, I can tell you what it is right now. Actually, I think I have the post pull up.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, it is different. So it's grade 3 lobular carcinoma breast cancer.
I think that means it'll spread quickly if not addressed soon. So I don't know how soon they caught it, but whatever. This is what they're doing. Tony texts Scott all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I was gonna text Tony, but I was like, how
he's already blocked my phone now,
I'd rather just pray for his wife than reach out and say, hey, sorry about the bad news, and then not get a response. Just be like, God, why do I just keep the masochism of me? You know, to just keep reaching out and keep getting the same response, which is, not a response at all.
Hold on. Let me refresh. They're saying they're not hearing me. Hold on.
They're not hearing you. I can hear you. Oh, all right. He's gone now. Much better. Guys, welcome to another episode of Timeline Cleanse. As always, it is your humble host.
Timeline Cleanse. I was going to say, it's almost like Tony doesn't, like this isn't even real with his wife, but he's just doing this as a ploy so that you text him again.
So he can ignore me again, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, so that I can ignore David again. This has nothing to do with anything else. No, but seriously, prayers up for his wife. It sucks. It's not made me feel real bad this morning.
Not great. I don't know what I'd do.
Keep that in your thoughts, in your prayers, and your intentions. All right, we're going to continue our story here.
Please.
As we walked up toward this 2-story simple house, I became very curious about it and wanted to examine it. So I started to circle it and could see that there were 3 windows in the main floor. And even though it had a foundation, there were no basement windows. So it was just like a raised house. I tried to go up on one of the windows that had the shades half drawn to see, and I had to stand on my tippy toes. And as I did, I can see it was one hardwood living room floor lit by a lamp in the corner and stairs that led upstairs. As I peered in, my girlfriend told me, I don't think it's a good idea to be here. And I told her, no, I got to see what's inside. He's white. This guy's a white.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I was listening to somebody talk about how they loved ghost hunting. And I was like, man, ghost hunting is such a white people thing. Like, it's only what I've never seen. And I would love to see, if somebody's aware of this, please bring it to my attention, all black ghost hunters team. That's what I would love to see, is an all-black ghost hunters team. Or I'll settle for like an all-Mexican or an all-Mexicana. Like, I think that would be very funny. Like 5 kind of short, thick, fat tortas, and they're ghost hunting. That would be really cool, and I'd watch that.
I like the whole torta thing.
Tortas, yeah. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you brought it up yesterday with the whole turtle.
Yeah, there she is. That's a torta. Yeah, Chi-town torta. There you go. Yeah. She's got. Look at her check engine light.
Got the check engine light, tackies, a Nissan key fob, and an EBT card in her hand.
Oh, look, there's 2 people. Eric over on YouTube, and then Brantley over on X, and they're both at the exact same time, one after another, saying Ghost Brothers. Ghost Brothers is on YouTube. Ghost Brothers? or Ghost
Brothers.
Brothers.
Is that a real thing, or are you suggesting it?
Right, that's true. Are you recommending that, or are you saying that
I
would be a
think
banger of a name?
if it's Ghost Brothers, wouldn't it be THAS Brothers?
This has got to be no way. Z-Man says, look up Ghost Fools. He's a
Those are
Mexican or
Mexicans.
something going out with ghosts. That's so awesome.
Wow.
I
We
like
gotta
the
have him on
idea
the
too,
show.
where it's like, instead of trying to solve issues regarding the spiritual realm, instead of trying to cast out spirits or any of these things, why not just with them? You know what I mean?
Well-
Like, why not just like haunt them and with them and call their names and then ask them like really dumb, like you get a Ouija board and you're like, is anybody out there? And then when they say yes, you go, how big that baby? You know, and just send that out there and see what the ghost does with it.
I'd
I
say
think that
don't
would be
do
good.
that because they have the ability to with you harder.
Maybe.
A lot harder. But hey, man, do what you got to do. If you do,
I wonder if
record
ghosts with posters.
it.
You know what I mean? I think we're a good match for them. I don't want to do it. I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
I would like if I was a ghost, I wouldn't even bother with me because I'd be like, this guy's,
Look,
guy's annoying.
says trolling the demons is next level enlightenment. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Nobody
Yeah, I've been
ever
posting a lot.
nobody ever screws with them. I like that. All right,
All right, let's
let's
continue.
finish reading it. Yeah.
I'm not quite sure why I knew I needed to be inside and check this place out. She simply said to me in a matter-of-fact way, okay, well, I'll be home. And I told her, okay, I'll be there shortly after this. So I walked up the 3, maybe 4 stair patio with black railings and opened the door. As I stepped in, I noticed a small table like a TV stand tray, but with 4 posts, and on top of it were 7 full unopened beers. I looked further inside this main floor, and across the room, peering out of the window, was a high-powered telescope. Now, I took pause at the entrance after shutting the door behind me because to the right was a dark staircase that led upstairs just past the main floor opening, and I could hear deep, deep chest-feeling vibrations, like breathing, that you could tell someone or something massive and powerful was sleeping upstairs.
You ever been next to a bison?
No, I have not.
Dude, I've been next to. They had them at Space Farm Zoo in New Jersey, and it's so crazy. It's like standing next to a breathing, Toyota 4Runner. Like it's so big, and its breath is so intense when you're standing next to it. Like you're like, oh, this thing could 100% trample me to death with no issue whatsoever. It wouldn't even notice that it did it.
Yeah. I mean, I've been next to big animals, but never a bison.
Yeah, bison, buffalo. I don't know the difference, but
All right, so he says, I knew I had to be careful, but I just absolutely needed to know if my suspicions were right and that the telescope was looking further amongst the spectacular formations in the sky. With the deep snoring upstairs, I quietly but quickly crossed the room to the telescope and sat in the chair before it. Put my eyes into the sight and was already focused upon the full moon, perfectly without needing to adjust the thing. So this thing, whatever it was ready
found
to
a
drink
telescope.
7 beers and was looking at the moon and just decided to go take a nap. Was this David?
that's weird. Interesting.
As I looked, I started to see so much more than just the massive waves of water crashing into it. It was a million billion tiny living things all working together at once in a school of fish fashioned to make this whole thing work. They were mainly blue deep dots of some sort and yellow and red as you looked closer, but you could see that without them there would be no massive wave performance happening, and it was breathtaking to see. It spoke to me deeply, and I can't tell you how long I looked in amazement, but once I had my fill, I sat back in the chair and wondered for almost 30 seconds, and then something crept into my being that utterly frightened me. I could no longer hear the deep, massive snoring. It was completely and deafeningly silent. That struck me, and as it did, I stood to my feet quickly, turned around, and ran to the door because I knew something wasn't okay, and I feared my girlfriend at home in the apartment. I feared for her at home in the apartments.
It's like this thing woke up, and then his first thought was about his girlfriend being in danger. That's interesting.
Yeah, so it went right to his girlfriend. I guess I don't know. That struck me, and as I ran to the door, I paused just before opening it and looked at the table stand with the 7 beers. And to my shock and horror, all 7 beers were opened, and some of them crushed. And I intuitively knew that whatever was making the loud, massive snoring had drank them and watched me peering through the telescope as he did the whole time without me knowing.
Interesting.
That's kind of freaky, right?
I love the part where he, whatever this is, crushes 7 beers.
Yeah, and he doesn't hear it. He opens them up,
That's so funny, man.
drinks them.
Just
Wow.
getting a little wasted before he goes out and does his day, you know? That's funny because I was watching this commercial recently. Not a commercial, it wasn't a real commercial, but it was like a fake podcast where one guy was playing both guests and they were talking about microdosing and all the benefits of microdosing. And then it starts off with like alcohol is bad. And then he's talking about microdosing, and then he's talking about microdosing some ketamine, and then he's talking about doing this, and then full circle at the end, he's like, you know what I've started doing? I've been microdosing beer. Yeah, I'll just have a little bit of beer, just one beer. It acts as a social lubricant, makes me a little bit sharper, makes me a little bit braver, and it's very funny because by the end of it, he's talking about, and I think we've actually come there where now it's like nicotine is the. We did that like anti-smoking campaign forever. And now it's like, maybe there's something good about nicotine. Maybe smoking is back. Maybe smoking is good again. And it's actually a very funny, I don't know if you don't know what I'm talking about. And that's funny.
No, I didn't see that. I don't know what
It was good.
I just watches something. He's always watches. I saw this video. It's like some weird video. I'm like, where do you find
I got to find it. I'll send it to you. It's funny. I promise.
You told me the other day you were watching some weird content creator. I was like, how do you even find these people?
Yeah.
All right. He says, I also knew it was because I was pretty much hypnotized the whole time undertaking that I was looking through the telescope. So after this, I quickly opened the door and ran out to the grasslands towards the apartment where we lived. As I did, I got no further than maybe 20 to 30 feet from the house and immediately dropped to my knees in utter shock and horror. Our apartment building was engulfed in flames, and specifically the top corner unit we lived in was in complete flames. Jeez.
Damn.
I knew in that moment that everything, including my girlfriend, was gone. I knew she had died in the fire already, and all I could think was how could I have left her there to die by herself? How could I be away, focused on these things for so long, losing track of time? In that very moment, as tears ran down my face, I stepped this massive and yet amazing dog man. Wait up.
The word stepped is wrong. I think he meant to say I saw.
I saw this massive and yet amazing dog man, or what I would now call dog man. At the time, I thought it was a werewolf, but what's the difference? Yeah, I don't know.
Good question, dude. I think it's like the legs.
Yeah, I think the way they bend.
Yeah, like the knees, which direction the knees bend in.
So a werewolf would be standard, and then a dog man would be like ostrich-like.
I think so. Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. He stood tall and assuredly, and it didn't frighten me. I could tell he was of good nature to me, but it was still amazing to look upon. I don't think he was of good nature.
Is this the thing that was faced and set your girlfriend on fire? I don't think.
Yeah, totally cool. He's a little drunk, but fine.
You snuck into his house, he crushed 7 beers, left you there alone, and then set your girlfriend on fire. But he's all right.
Yeah, I love this. He was tall and stout, and what surprised me more was he had an armor on that was draped in clothing. Now, unlike Kevin, who the f- is Kevin?
It's Kevin.
Unlike Kevin, his armor was silver-like, maybe bronze, and the clothing was purple, but it also could have been the turquoise. He explained. I just remember armor and clothing for sure. I don't know. I feel like we missed a whole paragraph. We missed the part about Kevin.
Something strange happened here.
There's another werewolf called Kevin, and he has clothing armor, but not quite the same.
Right, Kevin seems cool. If his name is Kevin.
Yeah. Let us know who Kevin is when you watch us. When I think back, though, my heart goes to silver, like armor with purple clothing and a cape wrapped into it. This could all be poor memory, and it could be most definitely my mind filling in the gaps, even in the moment of the dream, but armor and clothing for sure. That kind of reminds me of that. Does he mean Saint Christopher? The dog-headed.
I don't know. Did Saint Christopher have armor?
He was a knight.
Oh, check that out.
Yeah, dude. They used to use him.
I know purple means royalty.
Right. Yeah, they would use him to I think he was like more of a mercenary than a knight, but definitely a warrior. So that's what Brian was telling us about the armor with the room for a snout.
Oh yeah, that's right. The extended helmets. Yeah.
Right. So let me see. As he stepped into view, he spoke to me in a matter-of-fact and utterly true tone that was caring as it could be, but also assured and assertive as it can be. Like it didn't have much time, but needed me to know what he was saying to the deepest core of me. He told me with what had to be mind speak or telepathy, because I don't remember seeing his mouth move other than to breathe. It's okay. She was only meant to show you something. You have to let it go now. You have to move on. Very strange.
Huh. She was only meant to. So I guess he drinks 7 beers. He sets his girlfriend on fire, and then he says, "It's okay. You don't need her anymore."
It's fine. Yeah, she was just going to show you the moon.
That's it.
That's
yeah.
it.
She had to show you the moon. Now that's done. May she rest in peace.
Yeah, I had to burn her now. But it's cool. It's chill also talking to you through telepathy, which is interesting. This is
No big
from
deal.
March 18th. I think this was before we were even talking about telepathy. So, or maybe right around. No, this had to have been before. Anyway, so he continues, and even though I didn't want to believe it, I knew what he was saying was true, and I knew he meant it deeply and affectionately, but in a way that meant I needed to adhere, and what he was saying was for my betterment. That's when I woke up. I have that and some other stories as well that include what I can only surmise as reptilian attachment that followed me back home from Arizona after I split with this girl, from what my mother and sister tell me.
Interesting.
I was in a deep oppression at the time, but they experienced some crazy paranormal things when I came back to live with them, and that's where this story ends. So something strange about this girl, huh?
When I was younger, I was dating a girl. We broke up. And then I started dating another girl. And the second girl ends up talking to a psychic about me. I didn't ask her to. There's a psychic in her family. And they often go to her for whatever. And the psychic told her that she and I weren't going to be together. And that I was actually going to get back with this other chick because, quote, I had a lot to teach her still, which was weird because it was a very toxic relationship that I was in my teenage years. And it was very much like, I don't know how to explain it. Like I don't want to be rude, even though it's my ex and I don't really care either way, but she was a dunce, dude, like a complete moron. She had no situational awareness. She had no critical thinking skills. It was very strange. And a lot of our relationship was me, for whatever reason, in my infinite wisdom as a teenager, teaching her a bunch of shit. And I just thought that was strange because we did end up getting back together and then we ended up separating, a final time. But it kind of reminds me of that. It seems like that dream was almost the catalyst for him breaking up with this chick. And it's interesting because after he broke up with her, he's then tailed by some other entity that he describes as reptilian. That's a fascinating way to describe a thing that it doesn't sound like he is outright saying that he saw, but that's a pretty physical descriptive. It speaks a lot more to the image of a thing than it does to the behavior of a thing. I don't know. Interesting story. The Dogman thing, Dogman in armor is pretty interesting as well. I don't know what the hell to make of that.
Why did he burn your girlfriend?
Yeah, why? I mean, it's one thing to be like, hey, it's time to move on. Like she was only here to show you a thing, but now it's time to move on. But it's another thing to be like, and I set her spirit man on fire in an apartment building in the astral realm.
And all your
everything. I don't know what you had in that apartment. It's gone. It's all gone. Yeah, anyways, you want to go back to my place and have a couple drinks?
You want to smash some beers, look at the moon?
You want to smash some beers and look at the moon? Yeah, dude, let's go. All right.
The full moon connotation and the dog man werewolf thing is interesting, right?
Yeah. And the moon itself being peppered with water. It's interesting because he says that she was supposed to show you something. And in the dream, she's showing him, she's like, hey, you're not seeing it, idiot. Look at the moon again. Were you blind and stupid? And he looks back at the moon and he realizes, oh, yeah, I don't know how I missed it, but there appears to be tidal waves crashing on the moon. I wonder what that's representative of. What does that mean? You know, because I think a lot is imparted in dreams, in particular through symbols. I had a dream about the moon once. My wife and I were in some sort of a city at night, and more or less everybody was freaking the out like it was the end of the world because the moon was approaching. The moon was like crashing into the planet. And I just remember being like, well, everybody else is freaking out. I'm going to go and have a seat with my wife and like check this out because this is kind of a banger of a view.
I'm going to crush these 7 beers.
And we crushed 7 beers and I set her on. And that was the whole, I don't know what it meant. I don't know what the dream meant, but all right, let's get into this next one. This is from, soft doxer?
I want to do another one. No, which one are you talking about?
319.
319. Let me see.
Sandra. She didn't tell me not to dox her, so I'm doxing her. Sandra.
Okay, wait. Before we read it, we're at 36 minutes. So.
Oh my God, these pores.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. Guys, it's now 38 minutes in, and we've given you more content than you deserve. And so we're recommending that you go on over to patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad, where you can continue listening to Sandra's story. Soft Doc Sandra. And more. There's also more. I've talked about what the more is. I said it at the top of the show. I'll not say it again. If you're not listening to me, that's your fault. But go and sign up, and you can do it for free. Or whatever you want to do. Patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad. Bye.
Goodbye. We'll see
Bye.
you guys later. Very cool. I like the elevator
now
music
that
as we leave.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Got a
we're
much
leaving
more
everywhere.
intimate crowd here.
Yeah, nice and quiet, right?
Oh, Yannette says there has to be a burp reel in the works.
Oh, yeah.
Because I do be burping. I do be burping. You guys make me nervous, and I get indigestion.
It's weird. It's weird for somebody that likes to talk so much how other people could make you nervous.
Yeah, but they make me nervous, and I get indigestion.
Okay, Sandra says, hey there, David and Top. P.S. I think God does like what you're doing.
Oh, I hope so.
That's nice.
I really
That's
hope
a question.
so. I really, really hope so. Somebody showed me scripture yesterday, Matthew 15:11, I think, and it was basically about like the words you say. And I tried to do like mental gymnastics. I'm reading it. I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't say anything about saying.
Let me read that one.
Yeah, and it's like it's basically
Matthew
saying
what?
15:11, Matthew 15:11, I think.
Oh yeah, it's gonna say some stuff. Yeah, let's see.
It's gonna say some stuff.
Not that which goeth into the mouth defileth man, but that which cometh out of the mouth, this defileth a man. What's that mean?
Right. Well, and what I'm like, can we be specific here? Because if I call you
Well, what goes into your mouth?
food,
That defiles you sometimes.
that could be
for
defiling.
sure.
Yeah, that's very defiling.
What's this mean?
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, anyway, what did you glean from it? Shouldn't say anymore?
No, I just wondered, am I doing mental gymnastics to try to justify calling people faggots, or is it the truth? You know what I'm saying? In other words, if I call you because you're acting like
Let's look at the meaning. So the meaning, this verse is part of a teaching by Jesus addressing the Pharisees' criticism of his disciples for not following traditional hand-washing rituals before eating. Jesus explains that the spiritual purity isn't about external rituals or what food one consumes. Instead, true defilement comes from within, from the heart, through the sinful words, thoughts, and actions like evil speech, lies, or slander. Yeah, that's so that in context, Jesus is challenging legalistic traditions, emphasizing that moral and spiritual character matters more than outward conformity to rules. He later clarifies to his disciples that evil intentions and behaviors which originate in the heart are what makes a person unclean before God. So what was that person getting at with you? What were they saying? Like you shouldn't say...
it was because I actually had to take down the post because the post got limited visibility. And I'm not going to keep that up because it's just going to strangle my reach.
Sure.
But the post was, I just want to praise Christ learn about conspiracies, and call people faggots.
Okay.
Something like that. And then, of course, it got flagged because I said, but then somebody was like, and they were doing it in good spirit, but they were like, 15:12, Matthew 15:12. And I looked it up and I was like, I'm going to think about that one.
Yeah, I mean, but here, according to this, and now I'm not saying that we should continue saying.
No, but it's
these
worth
slurs.
Exploring, right? If it says that in the Bible, then I'd like to understand it. And
Well, but yeah, so apparently the meaning is, so the Pharisees would actually be the people that are coming to you telling you that. So this guy's acting like a Pharisee in this case. Jesus is talking about the intention of your heart. So now when you're calling these people faggots, it could mean that we're talking about like, I don't know, what's this guy's name I was just talking to today? This dude here. Let me see if I can pull him up.
Oh, you called somebody?
Yeah. A spiritual, though.
Oh, okay.
Mark Pellegrino.
Oh, yeah, that
know.
guy's.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact.
By the way, I see here our
he changed. Look, I bullied him into changing his banner, which was a flag before.
That's very funny.
Mhm.
Good job, dude.
Yeah, see, I'm doing God's work.
No, but I don't think that I'm doing mental gymnastics when I'm trying to figure out like, oh, spirit fingers. If dunking on people, you know,
that's
so
the
you can
wrong
keep
one.
not washing your hands to eat raw hot dogs. Thank you, Doomsday Cracker.
No, sorry, that's not what I meant. I meant to pull this up.
Yes,
The
yes, I
ones
just
picked
discovered
have
that.
They have an asterisk in front of them. Okay, so
Yeah,
we
so
have Nancy
we're
picks.
actually going to go to 311 then.
No, wait. I mean, should we? All right,
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
skipping
because it has an
Sandra.
asterisk. And what are we paying Nancy for if she's going to categorize these things for us and we're not going to read them according to her categorizations?
311. Greetings, fellow retards. I wonder if I could do this thing. Let me see something real quick.
What, call somebody a...
We'll see. No, I'm going to copy it and ask. I'm going to ask Grok to. No, I'll do it another time. I wonder if I can ask Grok or ChatGPT to like fix it, but don't change it. Make it legible, but don't. change
in other
the
words, like, yeah, do just grammatical corrections and structuring corrections.
Make it look like a didn't write this.
Look, Kate says read mine. Let's see where Kate's is in here. We might read yours next, but I want to make sure that we get to
Nancy. There's Kate part 1, but it's empty, the file, so I don't know.
Nancy.
What
did you do?
You
Why did she do that? Why did she do that? Why did she do that?
Why does she do these things?
Why does she do this?
All right, we're gonna read 311 and then we'll read Kate's and then we'll get out.
I mean,
here
it's
if we
not
can
there.
find
It doesn't exist.
This isn't good. We're stuck.
All right. We're gonna do. We'll see about it, Kate. But for now, and she lives in Alaska, so it's almost 100% she's been abducted.
Oh no!
You ever
I see
watch
Kate's
Fourth
emails
Kind?
here? There's 2 of them. Wow, about night terrors, and then there's another one, part 2 night terrors. So we'll see if you can vamp while I edit. We'll do this, but whatever. All right. So
What do
this
you want?
is
You
from
want to read
Anon.
that? Is that what you're saying?
No. I'd have to like edit it and put it in there.
Yeah, don't do that. That's dumb.
As a matter of fact, yeah, there is no asterisk next to yours, Kate. So I guess it's not good.
Oh yeah, that's what the asterisks mean. It's important, and Nancy considers it worth our time.
You beat. Greetings, fellow.
Just playing. I'm just like, okay, all right. Go on.
You put on a great show despite the obvious handicap. Yeah, that's
Thank
true.
you.
For real though, love it. We'll just dive in. When I was about 7 years old, sleep was always a big problem. Normal, hyper kid. Not allowed much sugar, always with the knee bouncing. Oh, you had restless leg syndrome. Yeah.
That's anxiety. I don't give a what anybody says.
It might. I think it is because my the best man to my wedding he's like, oh, he's has RLS. I was like, no, he's got trauma.
Yeah.
You got some trauma,
Yes,
dog.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like childhood. Anyway, my brother and I shared a bunk bed, and I was on the top bunk having a rough night sleeping. The room was dark, and what I assumed at the time was my dad came walking in and gave me some advice. What you assumed?
That's
Was
crazy.
your dad? Yeah.
And he gave you some advice, and you still assumed it was your dad?
Yeah, he was like, he was like, all right, Dad. Yeah, my dad was 6
What did
foot
he say, Dad?
plus, but all I remember is a black silhouette with red eyes. No, that I added the red eyes part. So it feels like at the time, At the time, I almost told myself it was my dad because anything else would be so frightening. I often wonder, like sometimes like when I go in the room, my daughter's, because my daughter's going to be 7. I'm like, what does she see? What does she even see me as? Like I come in And she's very much like, oh, like sometimes she's like, whoa, dad's here. And sometimes she's like scared or something. I'm like, what are you looking at? Like, what are you, they don't see.
Don't
shit.
ask.
Yeah, they don't, I do ask. I've been asking my daughter a lot of questions, like good questions. Actually, this is a fun one. My wife's mother came to visit from New York, and she's married to a guy who we kind of figured out is autistic. You might have met him.
Is
He's
he,
a guy-
describe him.
Skinny white guy, white hair, balding. He's very like glasses, and he's like, well, what's the deal with, you know, and he talks like old timey.
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we're like I was like, I can't stand this guy sometimes. But then I'm like, oh no, he's just autistic. So now I figured out what makes him tick.
Yeah.
And the last few times he's visited, it's just been fantastic.
What have you been
I asked
asking him if he visits the hill?
Dog, hold on. Let me see if I can pull this up. I asked him about like telepathy. He's not that kind of autistic.
Damn
Let me
it.
see. Yeah. I asked Rock fun questions for autistic individuals.
That's so funny. And you're just reading grok questions to this adult man?
I remembered some of them, and then some I'll read them and then I'll ask him. But it's not like I'm reading them in front of him. So I'm like, what's your favorite thing to geek out about right now? And he's like, trains. Let me tell you about trains.
No way. He said trains, 100% autistic.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I said, what's it? Then I was like, hey, what's a cool fact you learned recently? And then he just told me, what was the fact? Oh, did you know that it snowed more in Florida than it did? Like, he just tells us like facts. Like I love
yeah,
this dude. Exactly. You see? So
You got to
now,
figure out
like,
what he is.
Yeah. Oh, this is, there was one that I asked him. That was great. This was a good one. It was down here. If you could make a rule everyone had to follow for a day, what would it be? And
Everybody
you would
wears
never guess what he
headphones.
told me. What do you think he said?
He said everybody wears noise canceling headphones.
No, it's close though. He said he would make a rule where nobody, like for one day a year, nobody's food is allowed to touch.
Oh, 100%
Crazy rule.
autistic. Because there's only
What?
three things there. Food. Nobody's food's allowed to touch. Everybody wears noise canceling headphones. Nobody makes eye contact ever again. That's your.
I was like, what would be like the penalty? He was like, if your food touches, you throw it out. It's like, so
All right.
somebody's just there watching all the food, and somebody's like, the food touched a little bit. He's like, throw your food out.
I like him. I like him.
it. Yeah, see, you got to know how to talk to people. So I've been asking my kids the same questions.
What's his opinion on race mixing?
He's like, just bad. He's like, Andrew. He's like, no.
Don't let the food touch.
Don't let him touch. No, once you look a drop of black in this white milk, it's ruined
over now.
forever.
Yeah,
you
you got
can't
brown
change.
milk.
Anyway, he told me to picture myself. No, this is the wrong one. So yeah, no, he told me to picture myself inside of a baseball or a volleyball with no seams. This is what this entity or his dad told him.
What? So his
Yeah.
dad walks into his room, or what he perceives as his dad, and he says, "I want you to picture yourself inside of a baseball or like a volleyball, but with
Yeah.
no seams." What the?
What does that even mean? Just a circle? That's kind of crazy. A baseball with no seams is a wild thing. It's just a
Interesting.
leather pouch with like a cork inside of it. Very interesting. I used to count the seams on a baseball. I don't even remember how many
That's
there were.
autistic.
I would just, because I was a pitcher, so I would like have it in my hand and I just twirl it and count each one. All right. So when my mind was clear, focus on my toes and tell them to relax until I feel them sink. Then move on to feet and do the same until they sink onto my ankles, shins, knees, and so forth. He said to do this.
He's
And I
teaching
would-
him to.
Disassociate.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah. I would never make it to my head before falling asleep. It worked like Ambien. Oh. Yeah. I used this throughout my life and never made it to my head until adulthood/marriage. Haha, that's kind of funny. Then sometimes I had to, that's pretty funny. Anon, good for you. You made us chuckle. That's it. See, some people tell jokes here and we go, nah, but that made me chuckle. All right. Then sometimes I had too much stress to make it work. Another night of no sleep, and he came into my room again, this time telling me to take slow, deep, controlled breaths and count. Start at 2 seconds, 2 seconds in, 2 seconds out, then 3, then 4, and work my way up to 7 seconds. 7 seconds in hell. 7 second inhale, 7 second exhale. That's called Dan Jun breathing. That's like it's a karate technique. I learned that in old school Taekwondo. It's really good. It slows it slows everything down around you. Like if you want to, I used to use it when I hit the speed bag. You do that, and I guess besides predicting the ticka ticka ticka, like I could actually, like, if I breathed correctly, I could see it, and where I'm hitting it. Sometimes move it this way, move it that way, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, fast forward to adulthood. I was raised Mormon. Gross. Well, we're Mormon too, actually. I didn't know if you knew that.
Oh, yeah, right. That's right. Well, Tower Gang's Mormon.
Yeah, but we converted to after our episode. I was raised Mormon and pretty restricted from all things fun. So when I was free, I dove headfirst into the party. Yeah, that's called like Rumspringer, right? The Mormons.
Rumspringer? Oh, I don't know.
Or
whatever the people. We had Mormons on. Shout out to Not Nice Guy and his co-host, and I just can't remember anything. Can't remember anything. Well, I remember liking it. I remember being like, "This isn't so bad."
Yeah, Mormons. This isn't so bad.
Pretty cool.
Anyway, went to my first day of orientation at college after a summer of binge drinking.
Nice.
Met meth, and I spent the next 2 years trying to get as high as I was that day.
That's so funny, dude. It's like, yeah, I was raised Mormon, and it was like pretty restrictive. So the first thing that I did is I decided to do meth as soon as I got it. It's like, maybe Mormonism was good for you. Probably better than meth.
Yeah, damn, kid. He's 5'4" and 135 pounds.
Oh, yeah. If I was 3 inches shorter, I'd 100% be doing meth. There's nothing left for me.
Yeah. I was 99 pounds when a series of events made me realize I was going to die a junkie in a junkie trailer park, and that was going to be my legacy. Plus, I wasn't willing to suck for crack, and I was at the point in my junkie career. He was at that point in his junkie career. Damn.
When does that happen? Is that like your tenure? Like, or like you get a certain amount of experience, and then now you, instead of becoming like a general manager, you can suck for crack?
I think it's just like the more you do crack, or
the more you like it, yeah.
The less you can make money, and then the more presentable it becomes.
Honestly, I got to admit, crack
look,
sounds
Matthew
great.
11:12. Look at what we're doing here. Look what we're doing here. Very
I'm
sad.
just exploring, right? Because crack does sound great. Anything that'll make you put another man's penis in your mouth, that's got to be pretty good.
Not great. I mean, it must be
Must
good,
be incredible.
But not great to do. Wouldn't suggest it.
No, definitely don't do it. But I'm just saying, like, damn, because I've eaten like a lot of Oreos and like mega stuffed is pretty good, but I've never wanted to man for it. So like, what would do that?
Yeah,
what's
that's
that like?
Well, I think it's just the level of desperation for it. I think it's just the addiction, which really sucks. Is it that good, or is it just that you needed to have it? You know
I don't know. Z-Man here is offering though he will trade 3 crack for. I don't know
What's
how much
that
3
mean?
crack is, but
that
sounds like a lot of crack.
for blowjobs. Okay,
I don't know.
that sucks, dude. All right, so anyway,
don't
so I
knock it
called
till
my
you try
loving
it.
father and asked him if he remembered when he asked me if I had a drug problem, and I asked for help. Pretty sure he drove that 200 miles in about 2 hours. Spent the next couple of weeks in the basement, and relapsed the first time I can get out of the house. But that was the last. That was the last time. Been clean 20 plus years now.
Yeah,
I quit keeping track. That's awesome.
I like to
great.
hear that.
Yeah, I was just listening to Sam. He's clean he's been in recovery for 4.5 years or something like that.
Nice.
And it's like Jake Shields was like, oh wow, in recovery for that many years. And it's like, yeah, I don't think you really stop keeping track, but I guess after 20 years, that's
It's
like
probably lose track. Look,
yeah, you lose track. It's a lifetime ago, you know.
Scott is queer. Said, "Have you ever sucked for weed?" And it's like,
The
no.
old half-baked joke.
No, he's like, I
fucking-
don't think he ever asked if you sucked for weed. I think he said you ever looked at the stars on weed and other things like that. Damn,
No, that's John Stewart.
Yeah, John Stewart in Half Baked. He's like, you ever done this on weed?
On weed.
And it was like, makes everything better. I don't think he said you ever sucked on weed.
Somebody
but,
had to have said that.
People really like weed, and nobody's sucking for weed. So crack must be like really good, dude.
Way better.
Way better. Yeah, it's got to be a 10. 10 on a scale of 10. Has to
I
be.
wonder. All right, well, whatever. So during those 2 years, it was alcohol, weed, and anything else in the room except for heroin. I wasn't
All
down
right.
with that. We have
Yeah, dude. I like a dude with that stands on his business. You know, he's like, I'll do meth. I'll even get to the point where I'm about to suck for crack, but I will not do opioids. And I like that.
Crossing the line. Mostly selling weed and pills. Sometimes we get a couple hundred hits of acid and we sell that. So we would be dropping acid every day. Damn.
I'll be RBs.
Okay. Sometimes it would be mushroom season. So we'd be eating those every day. This led to many bizarre experiences, as you could imagine. But the craziest of all happened since getting sober. Let me just go full screen. David. It's better, right? This is nicer. Okay. I've always had what I refer to as a very large antenna. Pending how healthy I am and my state of mind, it's more or less intense, kind of like an empath. I'd been clean a year or so and got an emergency appendectomy after. So, out of work for a few months, had just read a couple books, needed a new one, and of course, in this little town in Oilfield Nowheresville, happens to be a creepy little bookstore. He wrote it box store, which is actually funny. I don't know if he meant to write box store, but that means a much different thing. A box store, you would be doing stuff, the stuff that you avoided for meth. So he goes, yeah, Raven had to take a break. He had to go do something. I don't know what he's doing. Okay. I went in there and just asked for something good. I'm guessing it was because of the Tree of Life type tattoo on my arm, but the lady gave me the Mystic Kabbalah by Dion Fortune. That is highlighted in red. So Nancy, I see you're telling us something there. It might be at the bottom. Should we skip to the bottom, Nancy? Let me skip to the bottom here.
What did I miss? What did I...
Nothing. So... All right, so yeah, Nancy has actually highlighted. Hold on, where are you at? Let me pull you up. There we go. She's highlighted the Mystical Kabbalah by Dion Fortune. So at the bottom, she's actually added footnotes for us.
Really?
Here's a quote. Fortune was one of the first to bring this secret tradition. Fortune was one of the first to bring this secret tradition to a wider audience with her clear and comprehensive exploration. Oh, Dion Fortune, I'm an idiot.
Wait. Nancy wrote these footnotes?
Yeah.
All right. Maybe we pay her and it's good that we pay her. That's fine.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. To a wider audience with her clear and comprehensive exploration of the Kabbalah tradition. The Mystic Kabbalah remains a classic in its clarity, linking the broad elements of Jewish traditional thought, of course, probably going back to the Babylonian captivity days and beyond, with both Eastern and Western philosophy and later Christian insights. Okay.
Is this because our submitter here, the person who's writing in, has now started to dabble in Kabbalah?
He had an appendectomy. He was out of work for a month. Read everything. He had his appendix removed.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. And he went to a bookstore. He had a Tree of Life tattoo on his arm, so the lady gave him the Mystic Kabbalah by Dion Fortune, and that's where
interesting.
Yeah, that's what it's about. So obviously, this is about Kabbalism and a bunch of Jewish stuff. So anyway,
yeah,
she gave it to him, and I spent the rest of my time laid up reading that book over and over, like I couldn't stop, despite the fact that I barely understood a small fraction of anything in the pages. That sent my breathing and meditation experiences to a whole nother realm. I was conversing with everything from dead relatives, in-laws, demons, witches. Wow. I felt like I was just really good at communicating with other realms. I was also aware enough to never believe it when I was told I'd been chosen for something. This seems like a common theme, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you've been chosen. You're special.
Yeah. And to never take on any tasks or timelines that were suggested. Never had anything threatening happen. I think because I treated it like watching a TV show in my head. I would basically just see what anyone had told me. All right, so he's kind of like
had to tell him. That's interesting.
Yeah, someone had something that they had to tell him. So he's just using it as a one way. But I wonder. So pearls of wisdom and such. Plus, I had learned how to get high for free. So this guy's just the forever junkie. Interesting.
Wait, how is he getting high for free? Through a meditative process?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah,
interesting.
this seems like when you're going into this other realm, this ethereal realm, it's not like a high, but you're getting like the sensation of, out of body. And I think that's probably an interesting feeling. So I met my wife around this time and we dated for a couple years, then got hitched and had to dragon slang boys. What the hell does that mean?
Had two dragon slang boys, 16 months apart. Dragon slang. That's definitely a typo.
Yeah. Wonder what that means.
I think he just had he had two boys.
Yeah. When they were about 2 and 3 years old, my brain fell apart.
That sucks.
Yeah, not a good time. I think it was around 2008 when there was no work anywhere and I got laid off. I got real depressed real quick. I'd go to get a job in there and there'd be 12 other guys applying for the same thing with 20 years experience in the field. Kind of lost all confidence and fell into a hole. That sucks, dude.
By the way, I just want to, because this reminded me, our homie over at Reality Czars, Nate, who is one of my favorite people, him and Thomas, the Paranoid American, do Reality Czars together. And Nate just lost his gig.
Oh, yeah. That? I thought he came out the closet.
No, he's not. No, well, I don't know if he's not, but I know that he's unemployed now. So I just wanted, because a lot of this community of Dangerous helped me to not have to go back into the workforce and to be able to do this full time. Reality Czars has been a show for a while now, and Nate has been doing a thing for a number of years. If you guys find it in you, go and support Reality Czars because those guys need it now more than before. So
yes, go follow Reality. It's a funny show. I like
it. Is a funny show. I love Nate.
Yeah, they get like into. I think they know more esoteric stuff than us, and they're actually very funny. Yes. Sometimes maybe it might even hurt them, like how, because they crossed the line. Like Nate,
apparently he got, Meat Cavern says Nate got fired for boofing alcohol. That could be it.
Damn.
Yeah, you can't butt chug alcohol at work. No, apparently he got fired for anti-Semitism.
Yeah,
which is wild. So if you guys are looking for somebody to support, maybe you're looking for a new show, I highly recommend checking out Reality Czars because I bet you
dope anti-Semitic show.
Very anti-Semitic. If you're looking for another anti-Semitic show. All right. Let's continue.
Yeah. All right. So my wife and I love each other, but things were rough and she was working. I was trying to be Mr. Mom and welfare offered free marriage counseling. So we took advantage of that to my demise.
Dude, I hear that all the time.
Yeah.
That marriage counts. I wonder, well, let's see what he's going to say.
After a couple of weeks with the two of us, the doctor decided she only needed to talk to me. So I spent a few months with this crazy, and then one day she gets real serious like and says, I have something important to tell you and it's going to help. I was stoked because she sounded like she meant it. She goes on to say, I think you're schizophrenic. To which I replied, well, no. I thought that's why I was here. I was blown away. I thought she was fully aware of this already. Her reaction was what broke my brain. With a confused look on her face, she literally turns to her bookshelf and pulls out a university book and starts flipping through it. Tells me, oh my gosh, this is great news. If you were schizophrenic, you wouldn't know it, so you must not be.
Oh my God, dude, come on. Are you kidding me? That's so. And I love that too, where it's like, this is not based off of the assessment of a professional. This professional or perceived professional is literally just a glorified Google searcher. And instead of having the whole internet, it's just the reading material from the university. So that's it. You don't know anything. You just refer to the reading material. Incredible.
Jeez, is this true? Conspiracy extremist got Nate fired from his job? Probably.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
that's hilarious if that's true. He's going to be coming on the show soon. I invited Thomas and I invited Nate separately because I just think they both have so much to offer. They make good solo episodes, and so we'll be talking to him soon enough. But I wouldn't be surprised. That show, Horseshoes and Hand Grenades, those guys, they go pretty hard. They go hard. Good for them. Good for them for getting Nate fired.
We couldn't even air their episode on our channel.
Yeah,
The one that-
we made an appearance on Horseshoes and Hand Grenades, and we were looking forward to using some of it to put on our content stream, our RSS feed, and it was like, nope, this is actually very aggressive.
Yeah, conspiracy extremists baited me into saying so many different slurs. I'm like, I can't.
It was all his fault, and you had no intention of saying those slurs.
He made me
but
do it.
He's figured out how to manipulate people, into leaving their jobs, into saying things that they don't want to say.
He's probably a witch. I think we should fill a garbage can full of water and put him in it. But that's another thing. That's a whole another thing. I'm sorry.
All right, let's continue on though.
Well, so no, she pulls out the book, tells me this is great news. If you're schizophrenic, you wouldn't know it. She looks scared and relieved at the same time. For some reason, I kept seeing her, and this had made me roll through all the drugs. What does that mean? I kept seeing her.
Like she prescribed everything to him.
Oh, yeah. Seroquel, Effexor, Concert, Lexapro, and more. I got to a point where I was more suicidal and insane than I've ever been in my life. Yeah.
Yo, dude, like, honestly, though, that reminds me, and I'll stop derailing, but of that guy who just went into all those different psychiatrists and brought the same symptoms to each one, and each one of them diagnosed him differently and prescribed him something different. So,
yeah.
Okay.
It's messed up, dude. So at some point, she puts me on another new drug, of course. Every time we did this, I had to slowly wean off the other one and start the other. So I would be on two of them at the same time for a brief moment. When I started the new one, it was too much to handle, and something told me, just look up the drugs myself. Something I obviously should have been doing all along. Something I obviously, but at this point, mentally, I was a basket case. Yeah, this is what they rely on. This is what they've done to, my mother-in-law. Like, they put her on, you start on, what's that called?
Zoloft?
No, it's the drug to like create an imbalance or to, I forget, lithium. You're on lithium. Then it's like, once you're on that forever. And then they're like, oh, well, maybe we need this to balance this out. Maybe you need that. And then she's on a cocktail of drugs, none of which she can ever get off of. Mm-hmm. And then the rest of your health problems just ensue because you're comatose. You can't think. You can't really move. It's like, it's all up. So they create this crazy knot that if you haven't done your research to begin with, you're stuck with.
Yeah.
And
also it's like your own life is so overwhelming just in the monotony of like everyday bullshit that you can't expect me to be an expert on pharmaceuticals. That's supposed to be what we trust the medical industry for.
You're supposed to trust the experts, but these people have lied. Like, man, I was just like not going off on my wife, but like telling her about like when America does find out, because there's gonna be a reveal coming, but when they find out what these pediatricians have been prescribing to children,
dude, I said that today.
You said that
I
today?
said that to my wife today. I said, when we find out what we've been doing to these kids and all these different ailments that are probably all traced back to either the things we're putting in the food or the pharmaceutical industry, people are going to freak out.
It's something that I think I'm going to bring up on, it's going to be a hard one to talk about on Tinfoil Hat, because Sam's daughters one of them is autistic, but I think I can safely say that my son was autistic for the first 2 years of his life. You know what it was? It was a song that reminded me. It was the song from that movie, whatever, the Madrigal. It's like, with the Mirabel and all those people. Encanto is what it's called. It's a Spanish Disney movie.
Oh yeah, that's the one with all the tranny stuff, right? And the stuff.
Yeah, so the sister or the masculine sister has a song which is a banger, written by Lin-Manuel Miranda. Banger. Hold on one second.
Is it? I never listened to it.
It reminds me,
like, gay propaganda.
It kind of, but it's a good song. No, it's not Where I Belong. It's a different song.
That's my that's my show.
Song. This song played and it reminded me. It's funny how music or even sense can take you back to a place. And we were living in my wife's uncle's house after we had sold our house in New York, and we had bought this house in Florida, but we weren't ready to move to Florida yet, so we were renting his house. It was hell.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It was not suited for us. Like,
how was it hell? Was he living there too?
No. He wasn't living there, but there's no heat upstairs in the middle of the winter.
Oh, yeah, get the f- out of here.
It was like my son was sleeping in a basically a closet with a window that he had like taped, but because he had taped it, the sun in the morning would hit it directly and this tape that he used made this like fumes in the room, and we had no idea what it was. We ended up calling the fire department like 2 or 3 times because we were like, yo, it smells like something crazy in here. We don't know what it is. Finally figured it out. I'm just so glad to be out of that place because it was like ridiculous. Anyway, during that time period, my son, he was not talking. He was like probably around 2. Yeah, he wasn't talking at all. His behavior was horrible. Like all the nonverbal autistic that you hear from parents, I went through that for 2 years of his life pretty much, or like when he should have been communicating, like he's there, but not there, not in his body. Very, very confused, didn't understand what we were talking about. This dude,
he's very frustrated all the time because of that.
Very frustrated, very aggravated, and he was 100% is like nonverbal autistic. And I was like, my wife was a little bit in denial, but I was telling her something's wrong, and we're gonna have to figure out something with this kid because this is not normal.
Right.
And but I believe 100% that's what he was going through. He had a DTaP vaccine, which left a lump on his leg, and then this behavior started. And from there, that's like we never gave them another shot again. We were doing a delayed schedule because we were trying to help our kids, right? Be responsible parents. Give them a delayed schedule, and that happened. So,
but I mean, thinking, a lot of people, you know what it is? It's like that's the way you're supposed to handle it. And then there's another way where it's like you could be completely in denial about it. And when you're completely in denial about it because of some guilt mechanism, right? That guilt mechanism is like, I'm the one who subjected my child to this medical intervention that's now resulted in this, condition. But you need to ease off that a little bit because this system that's like pitted against us is huge. And in order for them to be able to attend even the most simple of events, who knows if he ever wants to go to public school or something like that, or any school, even if private school would be the same thing or charter school would be the same thing.
Scott said the tape fume him up. Yo, honestly, they didn't help, but he didn't help. Yeah. His behavior was like that I'm telling you, every time we went into the doctor's office, I would tell my wife, like, I don't feel good about this. I don't like this. You give either of the kids a shot. My daughter was more resilient, but for like 2 weeks after, their behavior is just off. Like this, like they're not themselves. They're either irritable or like spaced out. And I'm like, this is not normal. This isn't good. And every time I did it, I'm like, I'm hurting this kid. I know I'm hurting this kid, but they're telling me to do it. Like they're saying,
and if you don't do it, it's like, you've been in the doctor's office where there's like, I don't know, this feeling of like I remember when my son got burned, the way that they treated us was like we were neglectful. And it was probably due to the area that we were in. There's a lot of absent fathers in Perth Amboy, New Jersey. So when we showed up, it was like, everybody was just scrutinizing us like we were abusive parents or some crazy like that. So with the vaccine schedule, it's like if you don't do it, they look at you in a certain way. And that feels horrifying because you're like, can this person do something about this? Like, can
not
they?
Not just that, but it's like this creeping suspicion of like, am I wrong? I'm in this guy's office. He's got all these documents on his wall about all the documents are he's the expert. They have a little gold leaf on it. I graduated from this college. This guy gave me this degree, and this is. I was like, but
I have
here
all of the best textbooks to refer back to when I don't know what the you're talking about.
Yeah, but here I am. I'm sitting every day with a kid that his behavior is out of control. And I can trace it back to an exact point in time when it happened. It's like, not that he was talking before, but he was like,
there's a noticeable difference. Like it was a pivotal change.
It was a fall off of a cliff change.
Yeah.
And, so my wife was like, a little bit in denial at first, but I was like, yo, something is wrong. And it was like tearing us apart. And, with the move and everything, we couldn't really do much. We ended up moving to Florida, and she got sick really badly, went completely this is why I kind
holistic.
This is why I sympathize a lot with Merkel, and I tell him, but I don't think he'd see my message, and it doesn't matter. But she went completely holistic and switched her up and realized, because she was in the medical system as well, she realized this is all a lie, this is bullshit, they're trying to kill us.
It's got to be so hard. That's got to be so hard because your career, you've invested a lot of time into this, a lot of effort, hours,
we're still paying the loans for her college of what she learned to be false.
Right.
And she treated herself with online medicine. Go figure. Right. She's fine. And then she said, you know what? I'm going to treat my kid with this, because we were in Florida still for like the first 6 months. This is when it happened. Move, boom, one thing after another. I'm dealing with the kid that's out of his mind. My wife is still like, she was sick for like a full month, couldn't even get out of bed. And turns out we put him on like a heavy, among other things, with like high dose vitamin C drips, not drips, but like all different kinds of supplements. Did this for a long time, had him in a sauna for a little while for as much
How
as
long were you, what were you doing for heavy, and how long did you keep him on that regimen?
There are parasite cleanses that she was using. There are other supplements that are good for like heavy, basically like bringing the heavy metal, isolating them. And then if you can get him to sweat, he will sweat. They'll sweat the stuff out.
Interesting.
And maybe we caught it in time. Maybe this works. Maybe you could do it now. I have no idea how it works, but I'll tell you what, we did all that. And then we had him going to a speech pathologist because they're like, I don't know if this kid's even going to really even talk. Like, he's not paying attention.
Yeah.
After doing all that stuff in conjunction, within like 6 months, he started talking. And now you've seen him the other day, like normal kid.
Yeah.
Smart, really smart kid. Knows everything.
Now,
So I'm like,
as far as I'm concerned, he looks to be just on a normal, like,
Yeah.
developmental schedule. I don't know, not a schedule, but you know what I mean? Like, he's up to pace. It seems like a normal kid to me.
props to me, Z, man. I
Beat her.
red pilled the shit out of my wife. You guys have no idea how hard that was. Maybe that's why you're all here. Because if I'm good enough to do that shit to my wife, I'm good enough to propagandize you guys too.
Yeah,
But
dude, no, I had a very similar thing because Cindy I'm gesturing because she's off to the side over here, but she used to be
Hi,
Jehovah's
Cindy.
Witness. And it's like, in order to start to unpack some of these crazy things about, you know, the witnesses or conspiracy, you could try to do it all at once to somebody and they're going to freak the out and you're going to get into arguments and or you could just plant little seeds over a long time and hope that those seeds develop into questions. And then when questions arise, hopefully you have some answers. But it's a very gentle, long game, and it's not easy.
no, it's not. It's not easy, and it's almost manipulative. That's why it's like
It is.
I
It is
lied
almost
to the-
manipulative.
Yeah, I lied to the people, and it was easy. The father of misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's something that I laugh about because it's funny, but it's all right. Well, how am I supposed to reach these people who have been lied to for so long? And you're gonna listen to me? Who the am I? You can't hear me from if I'm telling you directly. But what you can
Especially
hear,
when you've invested all this money and you've invested all this time, the last that you want to listen to is somebody who you didn't pay money to. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
well, I mean, listen. Here's this article. Here's some humor about it. Not just the article, but like Tower Game. This is why people like that quote. Where is this? Matthew 11, right? That we're talking about here.
Yeah, Matthew 15,
Matthew
11.
15, 11, where they're gonna say, you know, what comes out of someone's mouth defiles them. Sure, what comes out of my mouth for the last, I don't know, 4 years with Tower Gang, I guess you can call it defilement because we say a lot of off kilter.
Have sex
That
with the
is
beans.
what saved my family. That's kind of crazy to really say that and think about it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's true. It's being able to talk about those things in
Well,
a
you know
way
what's even
that's-
more specific than that is something that you've said, Top, which is, I'm just asking questions. And a
just
lot
asking
of it is
questions.
done that way.
And look at Douglas Murray.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch that episode, in the first 30 minutes, he goes, "What, these people just come on here and they go under the guise of I'm just asking questions." And I was like, that's my I'm
Yeah.
saying I'm just asking questions. And
That's
yeah,
it.
no, I know exactly what you're saying, Douglas Murray. What you're saying is you see me just asking questions and you're very defensive about it because you understand that I'm going underneath you.
Yeah.
And I'm taking the rug right from underneath you by just asking questions in a funny way. That's why you can't deal with Tower Gang. That's why people can't deal with my Twitter account and the way it uses this sarcasm to tell you the truth.
Well,
They
that's
don't
kind of
want
what it
that.
has to be. Is this asking of questions is a way of allowing you to come to the conclusion on your own. It's like tricking people into thinking that they came to that conclusion independently of you, and that is a very long game, a long con, I suppose. What did she say? Who would have thought that sexualizing could save a child's life? Right.
I know.
That's right.
It's like In the Arms of an Angel, but Tower Gang style.
Tower
it is-
Gang, just angels, a bunch of angels.
Listen,
All right.
we do cross the line a lot, but I do think that there is something to say because maybe the name of this episode is going to be Matthew 15:11. That's the name of the episode.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. What is this about? What are we doing here? And I think that a lot of this is what this is about.
Well, my behavior, the things that I say, have opened the door for people to come and sit at the table who otherwise would not have. And that is, I have some trouble squaring that, because what did he say? It's better for it to come out of your mouth or come in your mouth. I would say it's better to come out.
We'll bring this up on Tower Gang. Watch on Wednesday. All right. Upon a little research, the first thing I found is that you should never, ever combine the two drugs that she had me on. She should know this, but most of these doctors don't know. They almost killed my my mother-in-law the same way. This is when I officially lost faith, basically, in everything.
Yeah.
As far as some academically trained person being any smarter than a crackhead on the street.
Damn.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, look, if they're serving you up cocktails that almost kill you, and then they go, whoopsie, let's not do that again. That's your sign that these people don't know what the they're doing.
Oh yeah, listen, I sat across from this is another like breaking moment in my wife's thinking, but she used to work primary care for a doctor, and she had a good relationship. The girl was like around our age, a doctor, but she was like a dunce, kind of like you were describing your ex-girlfriend, like couldn't drive a car. Like that's always a red flag. Like you had a license but got taken away. It's like, but you're a doctor.
But you're
nice
a doctor.
lady. Yeah, but she's at my house in Brooklyn, and we're having like a dinner, and at the time, I think what was in contention was like the were coming up.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, well, obviously, the COVID, that's safe. And I was just
100%
like,
safe and effective.
And I was like, no. And you know what? Every day since that dinner, I feel like my wife is just like, she thinks back about that and goes, how wrong was this lady? And how many did this lady then administer? No idea what you're doing.
Yeah. Can't operate heavy machinery. Can operate on you.
Yeah. Wild. mRNA vaccine. Yeah.
Crazy.
All right. So I got off all the meds again, and God bless my wife for sticking with me through all of it. So I'm clean from illegal drugs for 20 plus years, and clean from the equally dangerous legal drugs for 15 plus years or so. So back to the story. Good for you, Anon. Yes. I just come to the conclusion that I'm a little weird, started studying the occult again to occupy my mind, dove headfirst into that like I did crack. Damn.
Yeah.
My skills from using the breathing and meditation learned as a kid are pretty dialed in at this point. If I don't have too much caffeine or alcohol in me, I can slip into a flow state just about on command. And now we get into what your psychologist buddy who worked with prisoners learned. Everybody drink.
Dr. Jerry Marzinski.
He actually came up in today's episode on Merkel's show, which is very
Did he
interesting
really?
too. Yeah. The guy mentioned him, Nathaniel. All right, so it was so rad to hear him on your show talk about it. Studying what I was, combined with the meditations and clear mind for the first time since high school, I realized I was not crazy at all, and the things that would converse with me were not part of me. So years after fairly healthy living and breathing, meditating to chill when I need it, I was also listening to a lot of Rogan. Stop listening the second or third time he had CIA employees on, and I didn't bother to ask him any real question. And I didn't bother to ask.
Mike Baker. Yeah. That was like, if there was a time where Rogan was getting co-opted, I would say when he kept platforming Mike Baker. That was, to me, I'm like, why do you keep having this spook on your show? Like
he had to.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Rogan from the beginning, like with Eddie Bravo, very contrary to what the government narrative was, doubting the moon landing and stuff. So when this guy comes on and he's just going, oh, tell me more, interesting, and he's saying all the shit that he's been talking against for years, it's like the CIA is probably like, hey, listen, you got this big show, you got to have this guy on,
right? And
that's going to be that, or we'll send you pictures of your grandkids,
Exactly.
So he stopped listening after the CIA thing. Kind of me too. I got a little annoyed with the Mike Baker. I just listened to some Rogan episodes recently, like the debate, and I'll listen if he's got an MMA guy on that I'm interested in. But like when it comes to weird political stuff or even social stuff, I don't think Rogan moves the narrative, but I don't think he's in front of it anymore. I think
it's been a long time since Rogan was. I used to go to him for conspiracies because early in the Joe Rogan experience, he was in very much the same school of thought as I was. And I think that's because the information on conspiracy was still pretty consolidated back then. It was like chances are we're watching a lot of the same content because it's what's on YouTube. Now it's so decentralized, and so much of it happens on X and all these countless podcasts and things that, I'm sure we're not absorbing the same content anymore, but he stopped doing that a long time ago. And now, to your point, Top, I'm not saying Rogan's bad. If you're like, I'm sure the Fight Companions still, and I'm sure Protect Our Parks is also a really good time. But as far as like any kind of information, politics, anything like that, COVID was the nail in the coffin when he platformed that dude that freaked out and told us we were all going to die. And I was like, I'm just not seeing that. And so I couldn't listen to that anymore. And I saw him, he was like platforming sort of a Robert Malone and Dr. Peter McCullough. But by that time I realized that it was much better to just, lean on your own research. You don't need experts anymore.
Yeah. And that's kind of what, he's a good jumping on point, but like, I don't even listen to his episode with Tripoli. Cause I'm like, it's going to
be frustrating.
Well, yeah, it'll be frustrating. What could he possibly tell me that he's allowed to? And if you go listen to it, it's like not much,
Yeah.
And that's Sam Tripoli. This is a guy that, I listen to his show all the time, but all right, here we go. No reason for anything but respect for the guy. I agree. Love Joe Rogan, but I couldn't do Joe's job. I agree as well. But I just didn't want to listen anymore, he says. So would have been like 2015 or so. He's having Aubrey Marcus on, who I am no fan of.
Yeah.
At the time, is that the carnivore guy? I don't know who that is.
Aubrey Marcus is the co-owner of
On It
Labs.
Right.
And that guy always struck me as really weird. And then one day he came out and he's talking on Rogan's show about like he was in an open relationship and how it just didn't work out for him. And once I saw that, I was like, you are the type of that would be in an open relationship. And that confirmed everything that I suspected about him. And I stopped absorbing anything from Aubrey Marcus. He's a weird dude. But Aubrey kind of is the guy that was like, DMT, ayahuasca, meditative processes. Like that was Aubrey. I would say Aubrey probably introduced Joe to all that.
Interesting. I know the guy. He's probably the episodes that I skipped because I just didn't find interesting for good reason.
Yeah. He's not interesting.
So at a time when so many people were seeking spirituality aside from organized religion, he had to come in and start telling everybody just to each other and do.
Yeah,
so, right,
dude. Yes.
Like so many influencers, whenever I heard him, I just thought, dude, you're f***ing it up in the same way that they did in 69. Anyway, so I decided to try DMT.
That's actually very funny. Oh, because Aubrey Marcus, he's just like went on the spiel about how annoying he is. And then he's like, anyway, decided to do it. Oh, shout out to Joe Rogan in the chat. He says, F you guys. F you, Joe Rogan.
That's not nice.
That's not nice.
Show some respect, Joe. Right. All right, so probably not the best decision, but it was what my brain needed to do in this journey. For context, I quit bad drugs around 2003, 2004, powders and pills. For the last decade, only herb and microdose on occasion. I was pretty much the average Mediate ice bath.
Meditate ice bath.
Meditate ice bath, eat healthy, feel like you're better than everybody else at this point. Yeah, we get it.
Yep.
Having all this stuff kind of in my life for such a long time made me feel ahead of the game. So the choice to do DMT wasn't as crazy as it sounds for decades of, listen, if you're doing crack, like DMT is like light shit.
But to his point, that whole meditate, ice bath, eat healthy, feel like you're better than everybody else, that is something that came out of the Joe Rogan camp. And I followed a very similar situation where I was podcaster, MMA practitioner, eventually mushroom experiencer, right? So very same. I like this guy. He's on a similar trajectory. He's the same kind of that I am.
Yeah. All right. So read this part. I'm going to have to take a piss.
Okay, go on. Take a piss. All right. So happy to run into a childhood friend who was in the business of sacred medicine, and the opportunity presented itself. I'd been feeling great for years, and though I had a handle on life enough to expand my meditations, not this vape. Okay, there's like a typo here. Not this vape I hear people talk about doing, and it ain't the same. One puff out of this powder, and you're out for 10 to 20 minutes. Just saying these people talking about taking a hit every 3 minutes to go deeper ain't doing real DMT. Man, sorry for the audience. That's a weird sentence that I just made sound understandable. So we set a date and I it up from the get-go. The morning of my session, I can't help myself. I buy a Red Bull as I'm leaving town and slam it on the way to the mountain. In hindsight, I think I was saving myself, but that'll clear later. Oh, I wonder if it's supposed to be, you're supposed to be fasted when you do this. So he says, your viewers should be aware alcohol and caffeine are the easiest ways to fuck up your vibration and put a block on any good experience. That's fascinating. I don't like to hear that because I do drink a lot of coffee. Not a lot of alcohol at all, but coffee is part of my daily ritual. But we all know how the mate thing went. Well, I guess meth is easier, but it doesn't just block stuff. It's like a neon sign, inviting demons and scaring away goodness. That's, yep, goes along with what Dr. Marzinski says. Everybody have a drink. So we meet up in the mountain and have a good little hike, sit down and reflect on my intended purpose. And we commence.
I'm back.
He packs it up. Shut up. He packs it up.
Jordans. Look at these twos.
What? Let me see these Jordans, dude. You didn't show them. I didn't see. I'm not looking at that screen. I'm trying to read.
Dang, look at those, babe.
I don't like those. I don't like those. Which ones are those? The twos?
Those are the twos, but they.
I hate the twos.
Okay, for real, guys. $24.
Okay, yeah, but they're twos.
I'm saying, how could you not buy it?
I would pay somebody else $24 to take twos off my hands.
I was thinking about it, but I was like 24. I was like, fine.
They're not that bad. Let me see them again.
They're okay. They're like, I like the little whatever. They're twos.
They're not bad. It's just twos is just such a.
I don't like the. They're my not my least favorite, but they're up there as not so great. But whatever. $24.
But they're coming back recently. They're remaking them and selling a lot of them.
I will say, very comfortable. Very comfortable.
Oh, there's that.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically where we've gotten so far is he's gearing up to go and have his experience, but he fucks up and he drinks a Red Bull on the way to it. He's going to a mountain to do this, by the way.
He drinks a Red Bull, so that fucks up his experience.
Yeah, because apparently he says caffeine and alcohol are the number one things that will fuck up your experiences when it comes to this sort of a transcendence meditative process. And I don't know, maybe that's true. Okay. All right, so he says, we meet up at the mountain and have a good little hike, sit down and reflect on his intended purpose, and we commence. He packs it up, and I ask him if I should take a little hit or burn the whole thing, and he says, you won't need much. So I try to burn the bowl. I was in a very confident place of life, but also empty, functioning the best I ever had, but still pretty empty. So I wanted to see the elves, because that's the solution.
Yeah, this is the Rogan. Right,
that's it. Yeah, you ever just feel like you're missing something, like a machine elf shaped hole in your heart? DMT has just a thing for you. So
actually, shout out to JT. We'll be on a show with JT next week, I think, with Bat. Yeah, what are they called?
Oh, Legit Bat.
Legit Bat. Yeah. So apparently JT will be there, but he just did a show with Brian. I think they do a show together. It's and it's about elves being demons. So very cool.
I like that. I'm excited if we get to talk about that. That's good.
Their show fucks. And I know they don't curse on it.
My wife says she threw away all of my jewelry.
Yeah, I know. It's a shame. But good for her. Anyway, that show does. They don't curse on it. Great show. Really enjoy those guys. So we're going to talk about something with them. But yeah, be there. Legit Bat. It's going to be fun. All
right. So where the hell was I? Boom. Functioning the best I ever had. Okay. He says that I wanted to see the elves because his life was still pretty empty. So I pull that big hit, and as he's tapping my shoulder saying, that's good, he pulled the pipe away from me as my body froze like a full body muscle cramp. So even the shaman dude was like, yo, ease up, baby. I lay back in the sand and listened to the hum as the earth swallowed me in the most beautiful way. The same thing you've heard from a few people. Just a pure love and an absence of anything negative. Stress, pain, worry, all gone. Combined with being wrapped like a bear hug in love. Well, that sounds nice. I had a kaleidoscope of visions, and I wanted to zoom in like I can with meditation, but I only got a small glimpse of clarity at the very bottom of each breath. So I slowed my breathing until I wasn't breathing. Everything goes black. And I hear a voice that didn't use words say, "Are you willing to die?" Damn, dude, what the that was the main gist of what it was telling me. But it wasn't like every word had full sentences of meaning, even though there was no discernible words. Like one note on a pane told entire stories. That's a strange way of wording that. Like one note on a pane told entire stories. I've been seeking an experience with entities and was being told that I could have that experience, but it might cost my life in so many words without words. Okay. That's interesting. Is it worth talking? Is that how big that machine elf size hole in your heart was? Is that it's worth dying? That's fascinating that they're asking that.
Maybe.
Then, out of the blackness, I see a familiar face to my 1980s kid self. The girl from the Never-Ending Story movie. Anastasia? No. Maybe I'm making that up. Can't remember her name, is what he says, ironically. Her name didn't matter. I believe it was just a familiar thing to make me comfortable, likely. Definitely a face I loved as a kid on TV. The one Atreyu has to call out to save the world. She's leaning over me, telling me to breathe. Then it feels like my soul sucks back into my lungs, and she turns into that blue India goddess. Shiva, that...
Trickery.
Not good. Also, a name I can never recall, ironically. It's probably Shiva, the Destroyer, or Kali. Could be Kali as well. Probably because I don't want to. Fair. The one with a bunch of arms and the elephant snout. I think that it's Kali. I could be wrong. Please, chat. Somebody Google. Boom. At that moment.
Cool. We're having there's a live chat in here with Nancy. Hi, Nancy.
Oh, yeah. There is. But she's not saying anything.
No, that's
She
fine.
just said, I just noticed there's a chat. Can you guys see this? And I said, yes, but I said it in Spanish. That's probably why.
She's like, I don't know what the this guy's talking
What
about.
does that mean? What does C mean? Boom. Where are we at here? At that moment, I become aware and sit up out of the sand. I turned to my friend, and the image of that blue-skinned creepy follows my line of sight, and he is now her. That's a bummer. It slowly dissipates, and my friend turned back into himself. So that was the DMT experience. Not too crazy at the time, given what I had experienced in my rear view. Pivotal, but it started getting weird on my drive home from the mountain. So we hang out for a bit while I catch a breath, hike down the mountain, and split ways. Driving home, all of a sudden vibrating. I don't know why I put inflection on that word like that. Driving home, all of a sudden the vibrating comes back in. Like I just took that rip. Oh, dude, what? You're driving home and all of a sudden it's like you just took a hit? I literally pull over because I don't want to fall into crazy land going 70 on the highway. This is a good couple of hours after, mind you.
Damn.
Soon as I pull over, it stops. I'm back to 100% sober thinking, what the f-? So I get back on the road. Park on the highway for more than a couple of minutes, and you'll have a patrol car behind you where I lived at the time. Didn't want to deal with the popo right then. Yeah, that seems reasonable. It's time to get back on the road, get moving. So I head home and have to actively focus on not letting my mind be clear. The opposite of what we are all used to. It was a strange feeling. If I didn't keep my mind occupied, the vibration would start back up. I drove thinking of debauchery to avoid spiritual experience. It was so up. That's interesting. That's really interesting.
I get that. I've done that before.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've typically had to do the opposite thing. Like if I've been on ecstasy before thinking a bunch of terrible things and had to try to think of nice things to make it go away. But I've never had that version. By the time I make it home, things have calmed down and I am seemingly in control of my body and mind again. My wife was excited to hear about the experience, but I had to sit down and meditate right now. Like when you get home from a long drive and nothing else matters but taking that piss. Amen. Plus, I'm not driving down the highway, so I won't kill anyone if I lose awareness. I go to our room, I sit on the floor with the intention of just taking the time to slow my breathing and sift through the experience. Excuse me. The moment my eyes close, I whip back into that purely clear and comfortable space with no vibration, just instantly in the deepest meditative flow state I could ever hope to achieve on my own with all the euphoric feelings that came up with that big DMT rip. It happened so fast, it startled me, and I opened my eyes, halfway expected to see either an ancient deity or a character from my favorite movie sitting in the room. But everything went back to normal. All the feelings gone with a snap. I just want to close my eyes again. Not sleepy, my body just wanted them closed, so I do. As my eyes close, my back involuntarily straightens in sync. Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how to spell that either.
I know how to spell sink.
I'm
This
thinking
motherfucker
like,
said in sync, like kitchen sink.
like this. Is this how we spell it? In sync? I'm
In
not
sync.
sure.
That's so funny. No, that's the band, dog.
That's the band.
That's awesome. Okay, my back involuntarily straightens in sync with my eyelids coming down. My back straightens up. Okay, so as his eyelids are closing, his back straightens up. Interesting. Not a forceful feeling, but long as I didn't resist, my body would just move. Already sitting cross-legged, now I'm in the same position, but I'm perfectly balanced. Then I feel a ball of energy. I think it's the thing people talk about moving up and down their chakras. Yeah. I think it's the same thing that people say is like the Christos oil, yada, yada. This is just in me. Not what I normally feel working my chakras, a force or something. It moves from the base of my spine, slowly up my body. It's not too unfamiliar, given the time I've spent in deep meditation playing with energy, aside from the fact that it's all automatic. All I had to do was stay in that space. The ball moves up my spine to my neck, and it gets weird. This part I've never experienced in meditation. At my neck, it slows and builds pressure in a way.
Nancy writes, in sync is 2 words, INSYNC. Thank you, Nancy.
Yes. Thank you, Nancy. Oh, is she in our side chat over here? No,
Yeah,
she's not.
yeah.
Nancy, we could be speaking privately.
No,
We don't
she
have
is.
to-
She is in the side chat.
Oh,
She's there.
all right, whatever. I don't have access to that, I guess. All right, so where the hell was I at? Blah, 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 blah. Okay. The ball moves up my spine to my neck, and it gets weird. This part I've never experienced in meditation. At my neck, it slows and builds pressure in a way, like it had to push through a thick spot. Then, like before, my spine starts to move. My head slowly tips back, mouth wide open. Oh, that's not good. It was wild. I was in for the ride, not freaking out for some reason. I feel this thing that is caught up in my neck being pulled out of my body. Like gentle cyclone of something is pulling at my core. Like a gentle cyclone of something is pulling at my core. Okay. As it leaves my body, I can feel the space it left behind. Not like it's empty, but now it's like clean. My body from the core feels clear and clean in a way that hasn't been for a long time. Maybe in a way I can't ever recall feeling. Nothing to compare it to. So that's the day I learned the difference between God, the Father, and all those little G's.
Amazing.
I can't explain it other than a lifetime of experiencing outside forces. It was like I recognized the little sliver of God's hand throughout the past once I felt the bigger picture. Interesting. Here's the only way I've come up with to describe it. Through the DMT trip, on my drive home, through the crazy throat experience, it was like God's hand in a clamshell shape. Okay, so kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
Not visually, this is just me trying to explain the feeling. Okay, so never mind my stupid thing I just did. And I recognized threads of that clamshell in past experiences, like a little sliver of something I could still see while I was around in the dark places. But I didn't recognize what it was. Like that tether thing that people talk about, or maybe, I don't know. Oh, so he's talking about like the silver cord, maybe kind of a thing. But I did get the feeling that was the last time. Like he mustered all the patience he could with my ass to pull whatever I invited into myself out. That would be the last time that he would throw me a bone. It was wild. I'm adamantly against organized religion, but I consider myself a Christian as of the last 6 months or so. This all happened 4 years ago. It's taken a while to process. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I was very similar. in how long it took me to come to. I had to leave a whole lot out of the story just in hopes to get the main gist cross of my coming to God. Like the part about when I learned it was not my dad coming into my room around 4 or 5 years old, teaching me to breathe and relax my body joint by joint so I could sleep with the nightmares. I found out in my 30s that my dad has never had anything like that. Never heard anything like that. Okay. And in hindsight, it makes sense because he's very strict with his religion and does not want to believe or participate in any kind of meditations or anything like that. Anyway, big fan of YouTube Dragon Slayers. Adding NDS to my small pile of paid subs, along with the Secret Teaching Radio. Grimerica?
Yeah, Grimerica.
And good old Doc Brown. Shout out Doc Brown. Prometheus Lens Podcast.
Yeah.
Much love.
We got to reach back out to Doc Brown. I forget.
I did.
So
I
bad.
reached out to him and I told him that he is invited. I don't know, if we could find any, because he seems like he wants to help, which is awesome. Maybe we could figure out something in that regard. But either way, he's invited, so that'll be cool. Damn, it's almost 2 hours. I wanted to read Kate's, but it's been almost 2 hours.
Yeah, I know. I gotta go to the bank because we're doing big things.
Big bank things. Big bank. Yeah, 100%. Big bank bucks. Big buck bank. Should be an extra B in there, shouldn't there? Like for phonetics.
Like BBC.
No. Like BBB, like a big bank. Big bank business. That's what we're doing. Yeah, big bank business, baby.
Big bank business. Yeah,
big
that's
bank
what we're
business.
doing.
All
So
right.
I guess we got to what's her Nancy's like she re-uploaded Kate part 1, and now I feel bad because Kate still might be in here.
Yeah, there she is. She said it's okay, but it's not okay. And I know when women say it's okay, they actually mean that's not okay at all.
Fuming right now.
Yeah. And I can understand why she'd be fuming, because who doesn't want their story read by two mostly illiterate.
Gonna rob a bank.
We're not gonna rob a bank. We're doing big bank business, baby. Big bank business. Because we're doing big tings, big bank tings. All right. So
yeah.
Don't worry about it. She still says it's okay, and that's a doubling down. It means you.
Maybe we'll read it. Let me check. Hold on, Kate. Let me check my Palm Pilot. Make sure.
Oh yeah, you check your Palm Pilot. What are we doing? What are we looking for?
Maybe Thursday, if we have time.
I kind of like. We don't have a lot of guests scheduled this week, and I'm like, maybe we should just keep it that way.
Just never have any more guests?
No. Just for this week. Like, we could double down on Chronicles, and then we end the week with Dr. Andrew Huff and Tim Constantine.
Okay. So we're reading the schedule. That's a good idea.
I know. That's a good thing.
We should tell them, we should do a video at the beginning of every week, and we read the schedule, and then when people drop out, we just go, see, they dropped out. They promised.
Hey, would you guys like more of those impromptu? Oh, no, dude, she said it.
She's fine.
She's fine.
The little box. I don't know what the box means.
She's not. I don't know what the box means either. There's an emoji that doesn't translate to StreamYard. But when women say they're fine, they're not fine.
Worried right now, though.
I'm really worried.
Sweating a little bit. I'm nervous.
I have to pee. I've been squeezing it, physically squeezing it so that it doesn't pee on me.
That's not how it works.
Yeah, it does.
No,
go ahead. Next time you go pee, squeeze it while you pee. See how well that works for you.
I'm not going to do that.
Because you're not going to pee. You're going to be like, well, there seems to be some sort of obstruction here.
Technically, you'd be peeing inside of yourself and just filling up your penis with piss. And this
Is it
doesn't
gay?
go anywhere. Is it? Good question. Let's check Matthew 15:11.
Let's check Matthew 15:11. All right, guys, look, we're done now. Top's got to go do big bank business. And if you want to submit your paranormal testimony and you want to have it read.
Yeah. We've got a new email, so stop emailing us.
Oh, that's right. This dude made another new email. I have an email for Nephilim Death Squad. I have an email for the Ravens Watch. I have an email for Dangerous. I have an email for Timeline Cleanse. Now we're about to have an email for NDS Chronicles. Wow.
That's right. It's called Chronicles NDS. CHRONICLES NDS. You could talk to us there. Send us your spooky stories there.
Yeah.
Or just say hi to Nancy.
Yeah, that's
Nancy's
true.
there.
Does Nancy have the login for that?
She does. She's there.
That's funny.
So Yeah, say nice things.
Gotta give her a raise, huh?
Yeah. Raise.
Big black. That's not what BBB stands for, Kate. It's big bank business. It's big bank business. All right.
Yes, and we're off to it. So that'll do it.
That'll do it.
The greatest hypnotist on planet Earth is a oblong box in the corner of the room. It is constantly telling us what to believe is real.
You can persuade them that what they see with their eyes is what there is to see.